Welcome to History 111, Lecture 13, The Articles and Confederation. During the Revolution, the new United States needed a functioning government, so they drafted the Articles of Confederation, and the Articles established, as they put it, a firm league of friendship between the states. A lot of what they're doing is going to be modeled on colonial governments and colonial procedures, but importantly, states are going to retain sovereignty, and the founders were very fearful that concentrating too much power was going to cause them a lot of problems, and that was largely due to their very recent experience with what they saw as British tyranny. So bills are going to be passed on a supermajority of 9 of 13 votes, with each state receiving one vote. And amending the article is also going to take the unanimous consent of the states. So right from the beginning, they're building in protections against what they see as concentrating too much power in this new central government. In addition, under the Articles, it's a single House legislative body, and each state has one vote regardless of its population. Now, Congress is going to be given the sole authority to govern the country under the Articles. Now, there is an executive committee that's going to oversee the government when Congress is not in session, and the Congress also had the power to establish temporary courts to hear disputes between the states. There were some powers that the Articles of Confederation did give to this government. They had the power to declare war and make peace, negotiate foreign treaties, establish an army and a navy, appoint high-ranking military officials, requisition, print, and borrow money, establish weights, measures, and hear disputes related to trade or boundary issues. However, what the Congress does not have is the power to raise funds to pay for that army or navy. They cannot tax anyone. They cannot impose tariffs or collect duties. They have no source of revenue. They have no executive branch to enforce any of the laws they make. They have no power to regulate trade between the states, nor do they have any power to force a state to honor its obligations, and they have no power to regulate the value of currency. So in other words, Congress simply does not have the power to do any of the things they need to do in order to exercise the powers they explicitly have. So what we have is a very impractical government. That said, there are some things that the government does get done under this system. They do administer the war effort. They do negotiate the Treaty of Paris and establish a Northwest Ordinance that's going to deal with how to divide up all this land that was gained from Britain in what's called the Northwest Territory, which you can see on the map there. And that's going to lead to things like establishing some criteria for future states and the future expansion. So they do some really important things, despite how horribly inefficient the government is. So what's the big idea? Well, simply put, they were afraid of central government and concentrating authority, and this led to some really impractical things, like no taxes or no enforcement mechanisms. That said, they still accomplished some things, like the Northwest Ordinance and the Treaty of Paris. See you in the next lecture.